we go. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now right here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there getting set to have a fantastic weekend. And coming up here on the show, an updated Philadelphia Eagles depth chart after the first initial big wave of 2024 NFL free agency. Before we take a look at this new look team, position group by position group, help the show out, share this video, and spread the word to all of your friends and family members about what we're doing here on Eagles Now. Click that share button, select the X icon, formerly known as Twitter, tag me on X at Chase_Senior, click post, and I'll give you a retweet. Obviously, we start off at the most important position for Philadelphia. That's the quarterback spot. And it's a new-look quarterback room for Philadelphia after the trade of Kenny Pickett. Jalen Hurts obviously going to be QB1. He's the franchise guy. I think he bounces back well in 2024 with the new play caller and Kellen Moore, who's going to be more experienced, and he's going to have better play designs, better play calls, going to force Nick Sirianni to give in a little bit with his offensive philosophy that's gotten a little stale. I'm excited to see what this offense can look like, led by Jalen Hurts, and then Tanner McKee, as of right now, the third-string quarterback. That Kenny Pickett trade, to give you the details on that, Philadelphia got Kenny Pickett last Friday, a 2024 fourth-round pick, number 120 overall, and then the Philadelphia Eagles sending the Pittsburgh Steelers a third-round pick, 98th overall, in this upcoming draft at the end of April, as well as 2 seventh-round picks in the 2025 draft. From quarterback to running back, the splash addition for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley. I can't wait to see what he's able to do behind a formidable, legitimate offensive line, because he never had that when he was with the New York Giants. Kenneth Gainwell right now slotted in as RB2, and Lew Nichols, Ty Davis-Price, by no means a guarantee to make this roster, which brings me to this point. I think the Eagles in the draft should and will draft a young running back. You get that running back under team control for the next 4 years. You always want to have running back insurance behind Saquon Barkley and Kenneth Gainwell, because injuries can happen at that position. And while it doesn't have a bona fide superstar in this draft class this year like it did last year with Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs both going in the first round, there are solid backs that you can get day 2, day 3 to help move the needle and have for the future for Philadelphia. Eagles wide receiver room, nothing changing with the top 2 wideouts here. A.J. Brown, record-setting 2 seasons in Philadelphia. DeVonta Smith has been a model of consistency. Want to see him drop the football a little bit less. I thought he struggled with some concentration issues this past year, but it's basically a contract year for him. I mean, Philadelphia is going to exercise that 5th-year option to give him that security of having Smitty under contract the next 2 campaigns, but he's playing for a new deal. And with the wide receiver market exploding and a guy like Calvin Ridley getting $23 million plus per year, DeVonta Smith should be right in that neighborhood. Philadelphia signing DeVonta Parker on that 1-year deal. New England's pretty much going to eat all of that salary. Eagles also signed the speedster, Parris Campbell, away from the Giants, a 4.3 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine out of Indianapolis. Been injured a lot, but we'll see if he can give the Eagles what Quez Watkins never did. An actual reliable field stretcher vertically. Britton Covey, Joseph Ngata, the backup wide receivers there. Covey, when he sat down with us in Las Vegas from Super Bowl Radio Row, was asking and wanting new snaps from Kellen Moore. He thinks he's ready. He's been one of the best punt returners in the game the last year and a half. Does he get more snaps at the wideout spot? We'll certainly see there, and we'll see if the Eagles draft a young wide receiver 3. First, second, third, even into the 4th round. There are some really intriguing wide receiver targets that the Eagles can groom, develop. They don't necessarily have to be a focal point of this offense in 2024. If they are, that's obviously an added bonus. I'm putting out a mock draft this weekend here on the channel, and we're going to take a look at some wide receivers, no doubt about that. You just get that other elusive wide receiver alongside A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith. It makes your offense even better. With that, speaking of this receiving core, who will lead Philadelphia in receiving yards this upcoming season? Drop me a name down below in the comments section. Tight end, goodbye Jack Stoll. Hello to a larger role you would imagine for Grant Calcaterra, Albert Okwuegbunam, Dallas Goedert. Going to be locked in as that number one tight end, one of the best all-around tight ends in the league. What I mean by that, he can catch it, he can block, and the well-rounded nature to his game, I think, makes him very, very valuable. It's also my hope that he's involved in this offense a little bit more. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Calcaterra, Albert O, they're both really, really good athletes. We'll see if they can finally put it together respectively. I also wouldn't rule out the Eagles drafting a developmental tight end. Player like Jared Wiley out of TCU, a Texas transfer, very athletic, crazy size at 6'6", 6'7", ran well at the NFL scouting combine. You have to start looking ahead to the post-Dallas Goedert days because maybe at some point he becomes a cap casualty. At the end of his contract, he walks because you don't want to pay him. You always have to have that foresight as a business and football organization. Even though the Eagles lost Jason Kelce, best center of this generation, best center in Eagles history, one of the best at that position of all time, I think this offensive line is in a good spot. We'll see if Tyler Steen is the answer at right guard. He's a really good athlete because at Alabama and at Vanderbilt before that, he primarily and only played, really, left tackle. Now he's on the inside. So he clearly has the speed, agility, quick feet to play tackle, and that's going to bode well for him playing right guard. But Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson, still a very, very good offensive line. Mailata, the third highest graded offensive tackle in the game this past year. Landon Dickerson, fresh off that contract extension, back-to-back Pro Bowls for him, and Lane Johnson, the best right tackle in the game. Even without Jason Kelce, this offensive line should not take a massive step back. In fact, I still think they're going to be one of the best units in the National Football League. They do have to shore up depth in the draft because Jack Driscoll and Sua Opeta left to go elsewhere in free agency. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Free agency going on right now. The NFL draft coming up soon at the end of April. I can't believe we're already at the end of May. 2024 is flying just like the birds. And why don't you fly down and hit that subscribe button right now. To the defensive side of the football, keep in mind here, let me preface this by saying, we're imagining and we're guessing that Vic Fangio is going to run a 3-4, right? And we're not exactly sure what that 3-4 is going to look like. Who's going to be categorized as a defensive end? Who's going to be categorized as an outside linebacker? So don't rip me in the comment section saying, Chase, you don't know anything about ball. Well, I wouldn't host one of the most popular, most watched, and biggest Eagles channels on YouTube if I didn't know ball. We're very successful here. That's for a reason. We do know ball. We do our research. I'm not sure what this 3-4 front and defense is going to look like, but we know the players that are on this team. I also know that Jordan Davis going to be a nose tackle. PJ Mustipher, the Penn Stater, UDFA, who the Eagles signed this week, going to be a backup nose tackle. What does defensive end look like? What does edge rusher look like? Outside linebackers. Jalen Carter going to be an end on a 3-4 front. He did a little bit of that at Georgia. Milton Williams, Moro Ujoma, where do they factor in behind Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter? How does Vic Fangio see it? It's tough for us to see it because we're not sure what Vic Fangio is going to do. I'm from Pennsylvania. He's from Scranton. I haven't talked to him. And then you look at the Eagles' linebacking depth chart. Hassan Reddick, Nolan Smith, Zach Bond. They are traditional outside 3-4 linebackers. But is Josh Sweat going to be an outside backer? Is he going to play defensive end? Is Bryce Huff going to play outside linebacker, defensive end? When Billy Davis was the defensive coordinator under Chip Kelly, Brandon Graham, Trent Cole, they dropped back at moments in that 3-4 defense. So obviously some question marks there. What we do know amidst this is that Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Oren Burks right now are the three linebackers. They're the inside off-ball linebackers. Absolutely love the addition of Devin White. I think the analytical nerds are going to find out the hard way that Devin White's a really solid player. And to summarize all of that, I'm very interested to see how Vic Fangio aligns this defense. Who does he have at edge again? Who does he have at outside linebacker? We know who the off-ball inside coverage linebackers are going to be as of right now. I'd also say defensive tackle with Fletcher Cox retiring is another area of need on this Philadelphia Eagles roster. I don't think it's going to happen in round one on our draft targets video. A lot of you were saying, you want Newton from Illinois, or you want, McKinley Jackson out of Texas A&M. Like, all of those are solid defensive tackle options. I think the Eagles address defensive tackle at some point. I don't think it's going to be in the first round. If they do go that route, I'll eat the crow. I always own up to my mistakes. 2, cornerback. Let's transition there. Is James Bradberry going to be on this team? Is he going to be a post-June cut? Howie Roseman said he's a part of the plans. He's not going to play in the slot. He's going to play outside corner. So right now, Darius Slay, James Bradberry, the outside corners. I like the young players in Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Mario Goodrich, roster periphery guy, Josh Jobe, special teams ability. He's got some potential as well out of Alabama. Not a bad option there when he can stay healthy. The secondary, little bit iffy. The Eagles did sign Tyler Hall, who played a lot with the Las Vegas Raiders last year, starting to come into his own. That is a player to watch out of the slot after the Eagles moved on from Mario Goodrich. The secondary, extremely fluid as we sit here at the end of March. And let me say this is a very deep class in the NFL draft for slot nickel corners. My favorite, Mike Sainristil out of Michigan, big playmaker. Had a lot of interceptions, a lot of pass breakups. He actually started his career in Ann Arbor at Michigan as a wide receiver. Made the seamless switch to slot corner. A little bit shorter, 5'8", 5'9". That's why he's an inside guy. But that receiver experience is why I'm very high on the player, because he can turn around, address the ball, have really good ball skills, track down the football. Underrated traits for a corner. How many times have we seen corners be good in coverage and then they have no idea how to approach the football? At safety, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to be used in the slot. A lot of nickel defense packages with him in the slot. He's also going to play safety, as he did with Philadelphia back in 2022 when he was the NFL co-interceptions leader alongside Justin Simmons, who's right now a free agent. We'll see if the Eagles go that route in free agency. Eagles a little bit thin here at safety. Reed Blankenship, the other one. You have Sidney Brown, Mekhi Garner, Tristan McCollum. I think you need to find a starting caliber safety, whether that be an Eddie Jackson, a Justin Simmons, a Julian Blackmon. I think that would really help out this secondary in a big way. And yes, kickers are people too. Punters are people too. Holders are people too. Snappers are people too. Our specialists, Jake Elliott. How about making $6 million per year to be a kicker? Whenever I am a father, and hopefully it's not soon because I'm not ready to have a kid yet, and no, I'm not going to name him Chase so that he's Chase Sr. Jr. and I'm Chase Sr. I'm going to groom my kid, I think, to be a quarterback-kicker hybrid growing up so that he can play one or the two when he gets to college. And if you're a quarterback, your face is the moneymaker. If you're a kicker, there aren't a lot of them out there. I'm also going to teach my son how to play golf. So he's going to be a golfer, a kicker, a punter too, and a quarterback. And you can't really go wrong with that because he can become a pro in at least one of them. The odds are in our favor. But Jake Elliott, $6 million per year, tying Justin Tucker for the highest average annual value salary for a kicker of all time. Braden Mann back with the Eagles on a 2-year deal. And then Rick Lovato, been with this team sneakily for about a decade at this point. He's back as the Eagles long snapper, also signing a contract in free agency. Right now, still moves to be made, draft upcoming, but how would you grade this Eagles roster right now in this very moment as you're watching this video right now? Yeah, you, I'm talking to you. Scale it for me from 1 to 100 as always. Thanks for watching this show. Share your thoughts with us. And if you haven't subscribed, homies, you ain't alive.